I slid through the gap in the doors, then removed the drummies box and let them close behind me, trying not to attract any attention. I took over behind a pillar and looked around. The place was incredible. It was like I was looking at an amusement park. There were a bunch of different areas, each with some sort of theme. There was a mountain, a forest, an underwater area, even a city block. How did UA even pay for all of this? Before I had time to admire the scenery too much, Krisstina started talking. So, welcome to the USJ. Today you'll be doing a training exercise to learn how... Suddenly she stopped. At first I wasn't sure why until I heard it. It was a faint whooshing noise, almost like there was wind blowing through the building. It seemed like it was coming from behind one of the buildings, so I changed my position to get a closer look. Just then, I saw it. There was a weird-looking gray portal swirling in one corner of the USJ building, and one by one, people started emerging from it. I recognized one of them right away. It was that villain that attacked us the last school year. I didn't recognize any other people there, but I figured they must have been up to no good. After the first couple of people, who I assumed were the leaders, a bunch of more plain-looking guys came out. I guess they must have been just regular henchmen. Krisstina and Spooky moved to protect the students, and the tiny hooded villain began speaking. Where is he? Show me the quirkless one. That guy's voice sounded familiar somehow, but I couldn't tell why. As the villains moved closer, it became clear that there was no way the two teachers here could fight them all off. If only there was someone else who could help. Strong Steve! He could fight off all of these villains for sure. And I knew one way to find him. Greg? What are you doing here? Krisstina, I came here on a motorcycle. We can use that to go get Strong Steve. No way! You're staying here where I can keep an eye on you. Before I could protest, my body froze, and it seemed like everyone else did too.
Rally and Holly, get out of here. Go get help, is that clear?
You know, every time I read this, I forget that my character in this is married to Krisstina. And you know, that gives me the privilege to finger Krisstina right up her tight little puss. Oh shit, you guys weren't supposed to hear that line of dialogue. Pretend you never heard that. You guys weren't supposed to find out about me marrying Krisstina till next season. Oh shit. Whoops. I couldn't believe it. I was getting shafted over Rowley. As he and Holly ran to the doors, the tiny villain started shouting, Scratch! Get them! One of the villains started running as long wires spread out from his hands and feet. Well, I thought they were wires. As I looked closer, I realized they were fingernails. You got it, boss! Suddenly, I felt my foot fall. I looked down to see one of those portals the villain came through opening up below me. Before I could even react, I fell through. For a split second, I felt completely disoriented. Like that feeling when you hang upside down for too long and the blood rushes to your head. But as quickly as the feeling came, it left again, and my feet made contact with the ground. Almost losing my balance, I stood up and tried to get a sense of my surroundings, just in time for me to get punched in the face.
Chirag Gupta! His suit is woven with fibers made out of his own hair, allowing it to turn invisible along with him. Shoes do not turn invisible, but if he wants to remove them, he has socks underneath made of the same material as the suit. Silas Scratch. Quirk, nail growth. He can change the length of his finger and toenails at will, growing them up to around 15 feet. They are also very durable.
Standing in front of me was a bunch of shady-looking guys. I hadn't seen them when the villains first arrived, but I guess it makes sense that they were more scattered around. I readied myself for a fight, but I already knew there was no way to take them all on. I had brought my notebook and pencil with me, but there was no way the villains would just wait around for me to finish drawing. Suddenly, something weird happened to the villain who had punched me. It looked like the guy had been punched in the gut. He reacted that a few more times, then fell to his knees. At first I had no idea what happened until I saw a pair of shoes moving around. Angie, there's some guys over here. I recognized that voice. It was Chirag. At first I thought he was hiding in the bushes until I realized those shoes were his shoes. Chirag was invisible. As the lead villain got up again, somebody came out of the bushes. I readied myself for another villain, but instead I saw Angie, one of the kids from art club. We made eye contact and something really weird happened. The pain in my cheek completely went away. I felt more energized than I ever had in my life, like I could drop and do 500 push-ups right now. Instead, I directed that energy at the villain. The guy went flying back and Chirag and Angie started fighting the villains. I thought things were going well until suddenly one of the villains kicked me right in the gut.
Angie Stedman. Quirk, Vitality. By making eye contact with somebody, she can greatly boost their adrenaline and physical strength for a limited amount of time. The length of the effects depend on the length of contact. A brief glance will only boost the recipient for about 15 seconds, while longer contact can make the effect last for up to 5 minutes.
I guess I must have been knocked unconscious because when I woke up, I was lying against a tree. As I opened my eyes, I immediately noticed how much pain I was in. My stomach hurt, which made sense, but my head and back hurt like crazy too. I guess when that guy had kicked me, I had flown into a tree. I figured that guy's quirk had something to do with his legs because there was no way that was a normal kick. I had never broken a bone before, but it felt like I might have just now. I looked around to see that the whole place was deserted, other than one of the villains who had also been knocked out. Suddenly I saw movement through the trees near the exit. It was Strong Steve. I guess that scratch guy was no match for him. I started to get up to run over to him before remembering I could barely move. Suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder. So we finally meet, Bubby. As soon as Manny touched me, the weirdest thing happened. The pain in my stomach, head, and back were going away. My legs regained strength. It was like he was speeding up my healing or something. You like that? Just a quirk I took from some guy a couple weeks ago. So many questions were running through my head. Manny was stealing quirks, and more importantly, he was a villain? Part of me wanted to get up and run over to Strong Steve, but I knew I had to stay. There was a reason Manny was approaching me, and I had to find out why he was here. Manny, why are you here? What happened to you? What happened to me? Look at yourself, Greg. You spent your whole time here idolizing over people who want nothing to do with you, being jealous of somebody who doesn't even deserve to be here. People like you, no, like us, were treated like outcasts because of who we are. I was forbidden from using my quirk because it was too powerful for the rest of the world to accept. And you, rejected from the hero course even though you were among the top 10 scorers in the exam. As much as I wanted to ignore Manny, I couldn't help but feel like there was some truth to what he was saying. I could hear somebody getting closer to us. We deserve to rule this world, not to be cast aside. People with strong quirks should be worshipped, not ignored. What do you even want? You already know, don't you? Join me, Greg. Diary of a Hero Academia Season 2, One for All and All for One, coming December. And that concludes Season 1 of Diary of a Hero Academia. Yeah, this has been a long journey. I want to thank you guys for sticking by me through this whole series. I hope you enjoyed it, as short as this season may be. As I said, Season 2 will be coming out in December. Just give it some time. Be patient. I hope you guys did enjoy this episode, as short as this episode may be. The reason this season was short is because, and why the other season might be short is because, like, I take it like 20 page per, like, each episode contains 20 pages. So that's why, and as you know, 20 times 5 is 100. So that's why this season had seemed so short. I don't know, maybe one day I'll take it by 10 pages, I don't know, but like, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Alright, so if you're wondering why I look like this, I just finished my review of the Loud House movie. Make sure you go check that on my other channel, link in the description. Or you can just, yeah, I'll click this right here. Yeah. But again, thank you guys for sticking by me and watching this. And, I hope to see you guys next season. As I say, follow me on Twitter, join my Discord, yada 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 yada. You know the drill. It's all in the description. Until next season. Peace out.